go. How are you today?
Excellent. Tell everyone where you're dialing in from and give us a quick history of eCareerFairs, if you could.
Absolutely. First of all, thanks for putting this together, Chris, and having eCareerFairs attend, and appreciate everyone's time jumping in today to look at probably a lot of great technology. So I'm David Hirsch, Director of Business Development with the eCareerFairs. We've been working in the virtual career fair space for probably close to 6 years now. Understanding that as of lately, it's become a necessary part of the recruitment efforts, no doubt, and it is taking off. And I'm sure everyone is tired of doing virtual things. But again, thanks for taking the time to look at it. I'd be happy to show, I think, what do we have, like 12 minutes, Chris? Yep. To get a bunch of technology in a short period of time. So happy to focus on what we offer for what I'll call the company side. I recruit recruiters, hiring managers, representatives, but we'll look at the company side and spend the time looking at that first. And we end up, we can talk about how to get in touch and do everything more detailed if you care to do that.
Excellent. So. And before you start, David, give me a quick tip on having a successful virtual job fair.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to look at. So one of the things that I always recommend for our clients is to take a step back when you're putting the event together, okay? Take a step back, put yourself in the candidate's shoes. What is it that you're trying to accomplish from their perspective? You can look at it a number of ways. Why I say that: setting up the event, what's the quickest, most efficient way for individuals to get in touch with the proper people, to eliminate the general back and forth. No, I need to talk to so-and-so, or, and if I always say, if it's a regional event, break it out in regions. So if someone needs to be in a particular part of the country, they're not going to look at the other parts. So take a step back, look at it from the candidate's perspective. That might make it a little easier in terms of flow and function for both the candidates and the representatives from the company side when they're participating in the event on the day of the event.
Excellent. All right, let's see this thing. Go ahead and share your screen and get rolling.
All right, let me see if I remember how to do this. Let's do the share screen.
Everyone's commenting on my jacket. I haven't worn it in such a long time. I decided to break it out today. So happy to be wearing something other than my hoodie every day.
All right, so everyone can see this screen okay? Is that good?
Yes.
All right, just get rid of that. All right, great. As I said, we'll spend time looking at the company side. What we're looking at now is what each of the representatives would have access to during the event. This is the booth. When you look at a representative's booth, then there are certain areas that they have in their booth the day of the event. On the right side is what we call the conversation queue. Each representative has their own conversation queue. That's where candidates who come into their particular booth request a private chat with any or all of the candidates. So each of the candidates has their own queue to let them know what candidates would like to have a private chat with them. Basically, it's a notification of individuals that want to talk. The left side, general questions. There's a public forum for each of the booths. Each booth has the ability for candidates to ask particular questions, and any of the representatives that are participating in that event in that booth can respond to those questions. You can see on the left side also some event stats and some team stats, which we'll get to in a minute. One of the most important things that you also have access to is what we call the registered attendees. This is a list of individuals that have registered to participate in this event. Every representative has the ability to go into the registered attendee list. When they do that, they'll be able to look at all the individuals that have registered to the event. Now, this is prior to the event, during, and after. You have the ability to search those resumes and refine that list of individuals that they would like to talk to. You also have the ability to refine the list by people that are actually active in the event, to only deal with the individuals that are currently there and participating. As I said, you can refine that list and narrow down the amount of people that you want to talk to during the event. The other key thing that you can do from the registered attendee list, if you click on someone's name to be able to look at their particular information, that resume that they provided as part of the registration process is also visible. Mm-hmm. You can save information.
Is it parsed at all, or is it just PDF?
So actually, it's an interesting question. They uploaded your doc, docx, PDF. We actually parse that so that everything in that resume is keyword searchable.
Very good.
Okay, that's how they can refine that information to be able to find candidates that might fit the particular goal for their recruitment efforts. As they're looking at the information, you can see a full view of that resume. You can save someone's information. So you always have access to what's called the Save Candidates area to come back to after the event. And one of the features that we've always had is the ability to invite people to a conversation. Now remember, this is prior to the event. These are individuals that have registered. If you hit invite for a particular individual that you'd like to talk to, they'll receive an email notification with all of your contact information that says you would like to have a private chat with them when the event starts. So when those candidates log into the event, they'll see a list of their invites. When they accept those invites, they will also end up in the private chat queue here, okay? So when I talk about people ending up in the conversation queue, this is what the booth would look like to a candidate. So when they come into the booth, they'll be able to see the representatives that are available to them. Each representative has a customized welcome message. This is another way for you to tailor it so that individuals know that they can speak with the right recruiter. They can always see what recruiter is available, how many people are in their queue, how much time potentially before they have a conversation with a representative. And then they can enter their conversation queue of any of the representatives by clicking that enter conversation queue link that you see here. So that's two ways people can end up in the private chat queue of a representative. Now, during the event, you can also use the invite feature. I'm going to scroll down through the general questions area. And if I see a candidate here, I can click on the information here as well to view their full resume. I can invite them during the event as well. So if I use this invite feature during the event, they automatically receive an on-screen display. So they will know immediately they've been invited. They can accept it as well. And when they accept that, again, they'll end up in the conversation queue or the chat queue of the representative. Now, there's a distinct difference between someone who just requests a chat and someone who you invited. And you can see all the individuals that accepted your invitation by this little envelope icon next to their name. That means that you initiated that outreach and they accepted it. So you can go ahead anywhere in this queue. If there are 20, 50 people, you can select anyone out of this queue to start a private chat with them. There's no specific order in which you have to take those chats, okay? The system will allow you to have up to 4 conversations at once. It's your choice, 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's up to you in order to do as many as you like simultaneously. And in order to start a chat, basically check the box next to their name and hit start conversation. Now that takes you to the private chat page. Now this private chat page, you can see here that all the information of the candidate, this is the person you're talking to. This is the information they provided as part of the registration process. If there's any customized information, that would all be below the resume. You can see there's a fixed time for each of the private chats. We default them to 10 minutes. Those can be defaulted to anything you choose, longer, shorter. And I'll talk about the time remaining in a minute. And to start the conversation, either side can just start typing in the box down at the bottom right and hit enter or send. And you'll be able to see that candidate is going to respond back, which continues that text thread for, again, that fixed period of time. At the top left, you can see there's multiple tabs. You can switch back and forth. These are the simultaneous conversations that you have going on. And if you're in a conversation with somebody else and another candidate responds, no, because that tab for that individual will start blinking blue like you see here. Just click on that to go back to the active chat. Okay. We default the conversations to 10 minutes. As I said, those can be increased or decreased. One of the key things you'll be able to do is to extend that by every time, as many times as you like. If it hits 5 minutes, you'll see a plus sign. You can extend that, but I'll get back to that in a second. Here's a start video chat, because when you're in a private text chat with someone, you have, as the representative, the ability to engage in a video conversation simply by hitting start video chat. You get a warning, and then you hit a video window like this. It's a simple transition from text to video. It's all browser-based. There's no downloads, no third-party apps. It's mobile friendly. So phone, tablet, browser, it's all the same experience across the board. And when you start your video, it becomes a split screen. My information here, the candidate's information on the top, full video conversation back and forth through the browser. It's still tied to the timing of the chat. So if you get to a certain point where you want to increase this conversation time-wise, hit the plus sign, and you can choose. Do you want to bump it up by 5, 10, or 15 minutes? Your choice. I'll just bump it up by 5. And now you see that it went up by 5 minutes. The candidate also sees that they see it bumped up by 5 minutes as well.
Debbie's asking, any issues with video and firewalls during some of these events?
A very good question, Debbie. We do find that video is challenging because sometimes, and this is one of the things we ask people to do to test their video prior to the event, we give them the capability to test that video to make sure it'll work on their network, okay? We do find VPNs are a challenge sometimes. VPNs sometimes knock out some of those things, and really there's nothing we can do to prevent that. But for the most part, if you spend time prior to the event testing the video, which we give everyone the capability to do, and you see that it works, you should be good to go for that event.
Okay. Another question came in. Is the virtual chat SMS text to the candidate's phone, or is it chat through the platform?
It's chat through the platform, all platform-based. That screen size will automatically adjust for their phone, so it's all done through the chat in the platform.
Great.
All right, so video showed that. One of the things you have the capabilities of doing as well is when you're in a private chat with someone and you feel like this person might be a better fit for another representative that's in the booth with you, you can see here there's a link that says forward to team member. So if I hit forward to team member, it'll give me a list of all the individuals or representatives that are in the event with me. I can select a particular representative. I can type them a note that I want them to read. And when I hit forward, it drops that candidate into their chat queue. They will know that it came from you, and they'll see a little icon that basically they can click on to read the note that you sent them. So you can move people around if they're not talking to the right person, better fit for somebody else. That's a way to get someone into someone else's queue. When the conversation ends, you can use the End Now button. Candidate can end it as well. Even if there's time left, that's okay. You end that chat, you get a warning. And then what you can do is each conversation, now you have the ability to wrap up those chats. You don't have to use this information. By default, this stars are blank. There's no notes. You can just finish the conversation and move on. Or you can use the star rating. You can take notes, whatever those notes might be. They're for your reference only. No one else can see those, only for your reference for after the event. And then you can go ahead and hit this finish conversation button. Two things will happen. The active chat will disappear. And then that creates a history of those conversations. Gotcha. So you can get to the history of those private chats anytime you finish them, up to 3 months after the event.
Right. You got about 2 minutes left, David.
2 minutes. Wow, quick time. A couple of the cool features I'll just touch on very quickly. You can always see what's happening with your team members. You hit members online, you can always see what's going on, if there's anybody in their queue, if there's anybody they're chatting with. We also have the stats for the booth, so each representative can look and see what we call booth stats. Basically gives them, the booth visitors, who's come in and out of the booth for the event. They can see if they've chatted with someone in the event. Are they waiting to chat with somebody? Should I invite them? And then the booth statistics overall that happens throughout the event timing, traffic, if you will, for your booth. Two other things I'll mention. You also have access to what we call a host account. Who's running the event to get full event statistics and download of information automatically for any event attendees. Nice list of stats. We can get into that if someone wants to take a look at that. Talk to us about what your needs are, and happy to go into any more detail and full detail. We typically spend about 45 minutes running through the platform, so 12 minutes. I crammed in as much as I could, but thanks, Chris. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We put your link there in the chat for people who want to go and schedule a deeper dive with you. Dave, what's the biggest event you've ever held? Number of people? Curious.
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the largest events was a fun event. It was an all-day event. It was about 185 booths. And there were about 9,000 registered attendees, of which 75 to 76% of those individuals showed up throughout the day.
Interesting. It was a full day event.
It was a full day event. Yeah, you're not going to cram that many people into a 3 or 4 hour event. It was probably, I think it was about 9 hours. But so that was one of the largest. That was interesting. That was fun to watch as well.
What's the average length for like a typical employer, single employer virtual affair, would you say?
So what we see is anywhere between 2 to 4 hours. And that also, we try and help people adjust that based on their anticipated registrants list, if you will. I've seen, let's say, a 25 booth event with close to 1,000 people get done in 4 hours. That was tough. Typically, if you're looking at maybe a smaller 3 booth event for a direct hire as a company wants to run it, you're probably going to be 2 to 3 hours with anywhere between 50 to 200 candidates.
Awesome. Well, again, David Hirsch from eCareerFairs.com. Thank you very much today, and have yourself a great day.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate everyone's time. Take care.